When your brain tells you to quit, you've only used 40% of your body's capacity, the CrossFit trainer said. The Navy SEAL was shocked. This knowledge was only taught in Special Forces training. Welcome to Delta Files. Before we dive into this powerful story of hidden expertise, mental resilience, and unexpected training methods, tell me in the comments where you're watching from today, and if you believe stories like this need to be remembered, hit that subscribe button. Iron Mind CrossFit had served the suburban community of Oceanside, California for 4 years. Located near Camp Pendleton Marine Base, it attracted a mix of active-duty military, veterans, and civilians looking for intense fitness training. The gym's owner and head trainer Jake Sullivan was known for pushing clients beyond their perceived limits with unconventional training methods. Petty Officer First Class Marcus Torres was a Navy SEAL between deployments, using his downtime to maintain peak physical condition. He'd trained at dozens of gyms around the world, but Iron Mind CrossFit had been recommended by fellow SEALs for its intensity and no-nonsense approach. Jake was exactly what Marcus expected from a CrossFit trainer: intense, motivational, and capable of designing workouts that challenged even elite athletes. Nothing seemed unusual about his training philosophy or methods, until Tuesday morning changed everything. Marcus was midway through a particularly brutal workout when his body started shutting down, legs cramping, lungs burning, every muscle screaming for relief. He'd reached the point where most people would quit. That's when Jake said something that made Marcus's blood freeze. When your brain tells you to quit, you've only used 40% of your body's capacity. The other 60% is locked behind mental barriers that can be broken with proper conditioning. Marcus stopped mid-exercise and stared at Jake. This wasn't motivational gym talk. This was specific information from classified Navy SEAL training protocols. During SEAL training, instructors taught the 40% rule, the psychological principle that when your mind tells you to quit, your body still has 60% of its capacity remaining. This knowledge was part of advanced mental conditioning that helped SEALs survive torture, extreme stress, and life-threatening situations. "Where did you learn that?" Marcus asked. Jake's expression became guarded. "Learn what?" "The 40% rule. That's not common fitness knowledge. Just something I picked up over the years. Training philosophy." But Marcus knew better. The 40% rule was classified information taught only in SERE, survival, evasion, resistance, escape, training in advanced special operations programs. Marcus continued his workout while observing Jake more carefully. Over the next hour, he noticed other concerning elements in Jake's training methodology. Jake's breathing techniques weren't standard fitness conditioning. They were tactical breathing methods used to control stress response during combat and interrogation. When Jake demonstrated pain management techniques for muscle fatigue, Marcus recognized them as methods for resisting torture and maintaining mental clarity under extreme physical stress. Most disturbing, Jake's motivational coaching included psychological conditioning techniques that belonged in military survival training, not civilian fitness. After the workout, Marcus approached Jake privately. "Jake, can I ask about your background?" "Sure, been training people for about 8 years, competitive CrossFit before that." "Any military experience?" Jake paused before answering. "Some. Nothing major." Marcus decided to be direct. "The techniques you're teaching aren't civilian fitness methods. They're special operations training protocols." Jake studied Marcus's face carefully. "What makes you think that?" "Because I'm a Navy SEAL and you just taught me classified SERE training techniques disguised as workout motivation." The air between them shifted. Jake's casual demeanor disappeared, replaced by the alert posture Marcus recognized in fellow Special Operations veterans. "What unit?" Jake asked quietly. "SEAL Team 3, currently between deployments." Jake was quiet for several minutes, then made a decision. "Let's talk somewhere private." They walked to Jake's office behind the gym. Jake checked that they were alone before speaking. "Navy SEAL Team 2, 2005 to 2013. Specialized in SERE training and psychological conditioning for high-stress operations." Marcus's mind raced. Jake hadn't just been a SEAL. He'd been an instructor in the most advanced mental conditioning programs in the military. Why CrossFit training? Because after 8 years of teaching people how to survive torture and psychological warfare, I wanted to teach people how to overcome normal human limitations. "But you're using classified techniques." Jake shook his head. "I'm using modified versions, civilian-safe applications of military psychological conditioning. Same principles, different applications." Marcus was intrigued. "How do you modify classified techniques for civilian use?" "Remove the combat applications, focus on personal empowerment. Teach people to push past mental barriers without teaching them to resist interrogation. Marcus realized Jake had found a way to use his military expertise to help civilians develop mental toughness without revealing classified methodology. What about the other clients? Do they know what they're learning? They know they're learning advanced mental conditioning. They don't know the techniques were developed for special operations survival training. Marcus spent the next week attending Jake's classes with new perspective. He watched Jake teach modified versions of techniques that had helped him survive real combat situations. Stress inoculation training became high-intensity interval conditioning. Pain tolerance techniques became endurance building. Mental resilience training became motivational coaching. Marcus told Jake after a particularly intense session, "You might be the most effective fitness trainer I've ever worked with." Why? Because you understand that physical limits are usually mental limits. Most trainers push the body. You're training the mind. Jake smiled. The body can do almost anything. It's the mind that needs conditioning. 3 weeks later, Marcus brought several SEAL teammates to Jake's gym. Word spread quickly through the special operations community that Ironmind CrossFit offered training that actually prepared people for mental challenges they might face in high-stress situations. "Jake," Marcus asked one day, "have you considered working with active-duty special operations again?" "The Navy offered, I declined." "Why?" Jake gestured around his civilian gym. "Because these people need mental toughness for life, not war. Teaching a soccer mom to push past mental barriers when she's struggling with depression is just as important as teaching a soldier to resist interrogation." Marcus understood. Jake was using his most advanced military training to help ordinary people develop extraordinary mental resilience. 6 months later, Jake's gym had become unofficial training ground for both active-duty military and civilians seeking mental conditioning. His unique background allowed him to bridge the gap between military-grade psychological training and civilian fitness. "You know what's interesting?" Marcus told Jake during a brutal workout session. "Most people think physical training is about building muscle." Jake smiled while guiding a civilian client through advanced breathing techniques. "Physical training is about building mental strength. The muscle is just a side effect. And the mental techniques you learned in the military are just tools for helping people discover they're capable of far more than they believe." Now I ask you, have you ever had a trainer whose methods seemed too advanced, too psychological, too intense for regular fitness coaching? Someone whose understanding of human limits suggested knowledge gained in more serious circumstances? Share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes the most effective teachers are those who learn to overcome the most extreme challenges. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, subscribe, share, and help us honor those who use their most serious training to help ordinary people discover extraordinary strength.